Good morning, everyone. It is 10 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started, and everyone can just keep rolling on in that are registered. Hello, and thank you for joining us for Webinar Wednesday. My name is Sharon, and I'm with SIPA, the Statewide Internet Portal Authority. Today's webinar is all about how to work with SIPA and the types of services that you can obtain through us. Before we get started, please note that during this webinar, you are muted. If you have questions or would like to communicate with the presenters at any point, please use the chat box. We will leave time for questions at the end, and we'll have some poll questions for you to answer as well during the presentation, and we appreciate your feedback. Please welcome our presenters, Kara Finch and Duane Tucker. We greatly appreciate their time and expertise and look forward to what they have to share. Also on the call is our Sales and Marketing Director, Beth Justice. Thank you all for joining us today. The floor is yours.
Great, thank you, Sharon. Can I get a thumbs up from Duane and Sharon that you guys can hear me okay? Okay, awesome. Good morning, and as Sharon said, thank you for joining us on this lovely snowy morning. I am Kara Finch. I am the Contract Manager and Legislative Liaison at SIPA. Now, if you're like my kids, you might be asking yourself what I actually do all day, because my title is a little confusing to them at least. And that's a fair question. So like many of you, the honest answer is probably that I attend a lot of meetings and then sit at my desk and work all day. But as you also know, there's always more to our days than that. So while I'm in meetings and online, I am working with our supplier partners on terms and conditions to get master contracts in place so that you as SIPA customer can use them. During the legislative session, I also pay close attention to any legislation that may either directly or indirectly impact SIPA and the work that we do for our customers. A lot of what we do at SIPA is to operate as an extension of our customers' procurement operations. And with that, as you can read on the screen, Duane and I have decades of procurement experience. So we're going to talk about how you can use SIPA to help in your procurements of electronic information, products, and services. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Duane to briefly introduce himself, and we'll also be asking a few polling questions.
Well, thank you, Kara, and good morning to all of you. We are beyond thrilled that, especially in light of the weather today, you've joined our discussion. I'm Duane Tucker, Customer Success Director here at SIPA. My primary focus is connecting current and future SIPA customers, connecting with you all to make sure that you are fully aware of the spectrum of products and services that SIPA offers. And we'll be talking more about that today. And also making sure that we have the right technology suppliers and solutions in place to support your needs. That is a very important piece of what we do here as well. As Kara mentioned, we are going to start with some fun polling questions. So with that, we have 3 polling questions. So with that, Sharon, if you would just take a minute, please, and select an answer to this. First question.
Results are being shared.
Okay, thank you, Shoma. Kara, this is kind of exciting. We have almost half of our guests today that have not worked with SIPA before. So this will be a great opportunity for us to give you some more information about SIPA.
Yeah, that is exciting.
It is. Okay, so Sharon, let's move to the second polling question. And again, this one will give us just a better sense of what you all do every day.
All right, that's interesting because we don't have a lot of procurement professionals in here, but I bet a lot of them are doing some kind of procurement activities. So this will be good.
Yeah, we have found that lots of folks, whether procurement's in their title or not, they end up getting to play a role in some of that, which actually segues into our third and final polling question for you.
All right, looks like we got a good group who that might not be their primary role, but they're still doing some procurement function. That again is not necessarily very surprising.
Right. Now, the fourth polling question we weren't allowed to ask. Sharon said we couldn't ask the next question was, how many of you that answered I do to this question find the procurement part is your favorite part of your job function? It's not yours. So we're not allowed to ask that question. So, okay, Sharon, I think we can close the polls, and thank you for responding. That gives us a better sense of the audience. And with that, I will hand it back to Kara and we'll get started.
Great, thanks. So we're going to start with a little bit of some statutory language. I thought that it was important to talk about who SIPA is And really, we can't do that without referencing how we came about, which is through statute. So the purpose of this presentation is just to provide clarification to our customers and a better understanding of who we are and why you as a Colorado government are able to work with us. I do want to just mention, we recognize that perhaps some of you may not be customers or potential customers. We may have some suppliers on the line. I think it will still be helpful for those attendees as well to understand who we are, but our presentation is more geared toward our customers and those who are able to work with us. So we're going to dive into some of the benefits of working with SIPA versus going directly to those suppliers or to a cooperative. But it's really important to understand that SIPA is a Colorado government. So we were written into statute as an independent political subdivision of the state, and we are a special purpose authority. We are not a state agency or a local government. And so we are also not subject to administrative rules of a state agency or local government, as you can see in our statute on the slide. Specifically, we're not bound by the state's procurement rules when contracting for electronic information products and services. And that's important because it gives us some flexibility in how we contract with our suppliers and also allows us to absorb some of the risk that is inherent with that flexibility, which is a huge benefit to our customers. So we have a statutory mission of SIPA, and understanding why we were created is also very important. And so I'm going to focus on that a bit, on what the legislature identified as the mission of SIPA when our organization was created. Oftentimes, legislative intent can be lost in translation as time goes on, but fortunately for us, the mission is made very clear in our statute, as you can see. I'm not going to read through the bullets on the slide, but I do want to highlight a few things. Specifically, we were created to provide an efficient and effective way for Colorado residents to transact with their governments in Colorado. We offer a one-stop shop, so to speak, for access to electronic information products and services that allow Coloradans to interact and transact with their governments. Now, what are electronic information products and services, you might ask, because I keep saying it, and I'm saying it intentionally because it is what's written into our statute. It's a pretty broad statement, but it's basically any technology products and professional services that help connect Colorado residents to their governments. Excuse me, per statute, we are authorized to enter into contracts with suppliers, and subsequently Colorado governments are authorized to work with us. And since technology is constantly evolving, our statute's not limited to a point in time regarding the types of products and services that we can offer. Instead, the legislators drafted it in a way so that it can grow and evolve as technology needs and opportunities do the same. We all know technology is an ever-changing environment, so it was really important that they made that call out in the statute. It also specifically directs SIPA to explore ways to improve access for the public and Colorado governments to interact and to implement those improvements. So now we're going to talk about who can work with SIPA, and we often get questions about how we're able to serve Colorado governments in the way that we're able to. And again, the legislature made this very clear in statute. So state statute allows all Colorado governments to contract with SIPA, and that means all state agencies, cities, towns, counties, special districts, K through 12 school districts, public institutions of higher education. Basically, any public entity in Colorado can use the contracts that we put in place. And by doing so, you're meeting your own procurement requirements. And this is all authorized by the state statute. Our statute says that all agencies and local governments are hereby authorized to enter into and do all things necessary to perform any such arrangement or contract with the authority. And that's a really powerful section of our statute, because it's what specifically allows you, a Colorado government, excuse me, to come to us without having to go through your normal procurement channels. So it can save you a lot of time and effort to be able to use the contracts that we have in place. We also have recently gotten more questions about federal funding because there has been more available within the last few years due to COVID-19. So we have drafted an opinion around that. Specifically, the questions are around how our customers can use federal funding and how that works with the competitive procurement process that is typically required with federal funding. So it's SIPA's opinion that the federal provisions, coupled with the authority within our statute, meet the requirements of the procurement standards in the federal provisions for federal funding. As I mentioned, we have drafted an opinion, which with the help of our legal counsel, which we can share upon request. But I just have to say, please note that this is our interpretation at SIPA and our opinion, and it's not intended to be considered legal advice. Therefore, we would recommend that our customers perform their own analysis and make their own independent decision. That's just the little legal caveat I have to make. How to work with SIPA. Now that we've worked our way through our statute, which I'm sure was very exciting for all of you, I thought it would be good to talk through the logistics of what it all means and how you as SIPA customer can actually get what you need from us. So we at SIPA negotiate master contracts with our suppliers, and those contracts cover terms and conditions, pricing. We ensure that the state security standards and insurance requirements are included in those master contracts. You as a Colorado government enter into a one-time agreement with us that allows you to purchase through all of our contracts. And if you're a current customer, you already have this in place. It's called an eligible governmental entity agreement, or an EGE agreement, as we often call it. If you're not a current customer and want to become one, that would be the first step, is to sign that EGE agreement. And that then allows you to, as I said, purchase through our portfolio of suppliers. Now, since our statute satisfies your procurement rules and requirements, you can then purchase all of those through all of those contracts through our portfolio of suppliers. We will work with you, the EGE, and the supplier to get a quote or a statement of work. And the EGE issues, so you, the customer, issues the purchase order to SIPA, and SIPA invoices you for those products or services that you're obtaining from that third-party supplier. The supplier is going to perform the services or provide the licenses or whatever the products might be. But the actual business transaction itself, as far as the purchase order and invoicing, is between two Colorado governments, which is SIPA and the EGE. So that was probably a lot to take in. We welcome questions about all of that, so feel free, as mentioned, to use the chat. But I'm going to turn it over to Duane now for a little bit more exciting content around what we offer and just the overall benefits of using SIPA.
Well, thank you, Kara. Yes, SIPA does offer a wide range of services and benefits. We're going to walk through that over the next several slides, and I promise to do my best to keep this as exciting as possible. So on the slide here, you see several bullet points. I'm going to speak briefly about all of these, and then a couple of these we're going to dive into further on in the presentation here. So the Colorado.gov portal solutions, many of you are familiar with this. SIPA is the oversight body of the Colorado.gov portal. This is the most comprehensive channel for no-cost e-government solutions in Colorado, and that includes websites and payment processing solutions. And if you thought you misheard me, I did in fact say no cost. We do some of these services that we offer to you for free. So I will discuss those no-cost solutions in more detail in a subsequent slide. Moving down to the discounted technology solutions, as Kara has mentioned, we hold contracts with several suppliers that provide a very broad array of technology services and solutions that all of you as governmental entities can use and buy from through SIPA. Again, we'll be discussing that portfolio in a little more detail later. OIT partnership, we have a fantastic working relationship with OIT, both on the IT and the procurement side. So we know probably many of you on the call also work with the state OIT office, so it's just important to know that we have a great working relationship with them. Colorado rules and regulations, Kara touched on this. I just want to reiterate that when she's doing all of these contracts, this is always part of the process to make sure that we're addressing, the rules and regulations that you have to operate under. Customer support, we're a small team, but we are here local. We are involved in every step of the process. As you just saw, we are involved in even the administrative part, the billing and the invoicing and things like that. So we're here to support you through every piece of the process for any service that you contract with us for. I want to really elaborate on the next point about the money staying in Colorado. We are a self-funded entity. We fund our operations by collecting a small administrative fee on some of the services that we provide. And I think it's important to state here that any profit that we make, we reinvest back into the state through in our governments or additional products and services. And I don't want that point to be lost on us. When Kara mentioned that we are government serving government, that's the rubber hitting the road right there. Microgrant program. We won't do a polling question, but I suspect some of you on the call have either applied for or received a microgrant from us. You can see since 2010 that we've awarded 357 microgrants for over 1.6 million. Last year alone, we awarded 37 microgrants, totaling about $175,000. So microgrants, again, aligned with our mission. These are grants that we award to applicants every year. The application process will start later this summer, and we will be giving out those awards later this fall at our user conference. But this is an opportunity for you to apply for a grant if you need resources or you need the money for some sort of solution that you need to put in place that is resident facing. For example, we've awarded grants for if you need to digitize some of your archives, if you need help standing up some sort of technology platform and you just simply don't have the resources to stand something up. So basically, anything that's resident facing and you would like us to consider a grant application from you, please, it's a very simple process. Feel free to put an application in this year. The aforementioned user conference, last year we were able to resurrect this after a few years hiatus because of COVID, but we will be doing a user conference again this year on September the 20th. This is a day-long event. We invite all of our customers to attend. We also have breakout sessions and panel discussions with technology experts. You can learn more about SIPA. You can learn more about our suppliers and what they offer. So it's just a wonderful day-long event to come really connect with us and our suppliers. And yes, for those of you that are wondering, we feed you very well at those events also. So please check our website later this year as we get closer, and you can register, and we'd love to see you at that event. Webinars, we present several webinars every year. For example, you're on one of them obviously right now. Topics range from learning more about SIPA to we also have webinars that have a very sharp focus on our technology offerings, our solutions, or sometimes we'll have a supplier come on and talk more specifically about their offerings and how you may be able to take advantage of what they provide. So would encourage you to check our website on a regular basis about upcoming webinars. And then the last one on here, and we are going to talk about this over the course of the next few slides, is the ease of procurement. I really want to make sure we solidify this point with you today. Kara mentioned earlier that all you need to get working with us is once the EGE is in place, all we really need from that point then is a quote or a statement of work to be created between you and one of our suppliers. It really is that simple. The statute does state that if you work with SIPA, we satisfy all of your procurement rules. So we've just taken a big piece of the procurement process out of your hands at that point. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in contrast that, buying through SIPA as opposed to more traditional procurement methods. But again, it's just important to reiterate at this point that if you work with us, we satisfy all of your procurement rules and can really simplify and expedite the procurement process. So moving on, I want to take a little bit more of a look at the true cost of procurement. So when we talk about we make the process simple, I want to compare working with us with, again, some more traditional procurement methods. Here's a sliding scale here. You can see that the more complex the procurement, the higher the cost to you. And so I just want to ask you a few questions. These aren't polling questions, but I just want to put a couple things for you to think about out there. How much time do your agency's procurement and IT staffs actually spend creating, executing, and managing different types of procurements? Really think about that, because it's the time and the effort and all the back and forth. Next thing for you to think about, how many different types of procurements do you actually use, right? Are you pretty streamlined there, or do you based on thresholds or other criteria, you have 5, 6, 7 different types of procurement methods. For the purchasing folks specifically on the webinar, or those of you that participate in the procurement process, how about this scenario? Your IT director comes to you with a well-vetted solution they want you to buy for them, only to be told by you that the dollar amount of the purchase requires you to do a formal solicitation. You always get a positive reaction from your IT folks when you get to drop that bit of good news on them, right? How many of you have got stuck trying to contract with a software manufacturer because over the last several years, they have changed their stance and they will not budge on negotiating terms and conditions that you can't agree to? My guess is most of you on the call have dealt with one or more of those scenarios, and likely on a regular basis. Well, what if I told you, again, because of our process, we can help you avoid many of those pitfalls for commonly purchased technology solutions or services? So let's talk just a bit more about the true cost of procurement. As you all know, it goes well beyond just the pure sticker price. So take a look at the column on the left here. Think about how much time and energy and effort you and other folks in your organization spend on just the RFP process specifically, right? The RFP, very commonly used procurement method. And then also look at the supplier piece of that as well. So they're investing a lot of time responding to your solicitations. So again, just thinking about all the steps involved here and how much time and energy and resources you put into going through a solicitation process as compared to how simple it is to work with us. Okay, I promise this is the last slide on RFPs. I'm sure several of you would stick around with us all day and talk about this, but just want to kind of highlight a few more things here about the procurement process for you to think about. So as Kara mentioned, we both come from a procurement backgrounds. We know that you will sometimes have to put something out to bid that meets a very specific need within your agency. I mean, we totally get that. I mean, even SIPA doesn't have a contract you can use, say, to buy pink unicorns, for example. So you're always going to need to be able to do a solicitation of some kind. But when we're talking about commonly used IT solutions, such as software or IT professional services, you can work with us and very easily and quickly get a statement of work in place, issue a purchase order, and have your IT folks working with that supplier in a short amount of time. We're literally talking weeks versus months sometimes in many cases. So I want you to keep that in mind. And I really want to point out the third bullet here. As procurement professionals, you know, it's sometimes hard to acknowledge this, but having done this long enough, I think this is an important point to bring out here. Suppliers invest a lot of time and resources in responding to our RFPs or other types of solicitations. We know that. Well, those costs have to get passed along somewhere. They don't do that out of the kindness of their heart. Those are all passed along to us ultimately in their pricing models. So while, again, procurement professionals, we all often like to think that we can get the best price on something by putting it out to bid. That's just not often the case. In fact, the more and more solicitations we collectively do, we are actually driving up the cost for all of us. So just keep that in mind. When you can, you know, buy solutions that are already in place without having to do a solicitation, that should really be part of your thinking process on how you're going to acquire something. So let's move on here. So we've discussed why SIPA exists, our statutory authority, and how easy it is to work with us. So I suspect at this point you're all saying, well, what can I actually use SIPA for? What are the actual products and services that you provide? So we're going to basically divide these into two categories for this part of the discussion. So let's dive just a bit deeper into the first category, the no-cost portal solutions. We referenced these earlier, but working with our portal partner, NIC Colorado, we provide no-cost websites, payment processing, and online form creation. Many state agencies and local governments have worked with us to create their websites, for example. These websites have won national recognition, meet applicable security, compliance, and state branding standards. So if you are thinking about redoing your website, or you have a new division within your agency, for example, that needs a website, we would love to talk to you about getting this set up. We can help you get a website put up at no cost. Payment processing. This, again, another service that many government agencies in the state have partnered with SIPA to create their payment solutions. All government agencies need a solution to accept payments, either online or point of sale, for example. We can work with you to set up your payment processing model, and we'll do that at no charge. And that includes the hardware used, such as card readers, for example, if you're doing point of sale. So here again, more free stuff from SIPA. So please keep that in mind. And one thing we have found that a lot of agencies have they're using multiple payment processing partners right now across their agency. A real advantage for you to think about is if you could consolidate all those payment models into a single payment model. There's a lot of benefits to doing that. So we would, again, love to talk to you about how you're managing your payment processing. Online forms, the third bullet here. How many of you are still requiring your residents to fill out paper forms to make a payment, for example, or request some sort of service or to connect with you? We can help you create online web forms, which, for example, you can integrate with payment processing, or they can even accept attachments. So, and the other benefit using these online forms through us, we provide excellent data security and some reporting capabilities for you as well. So feel free to reach out to us on any of the no-cost solutions. Okay, so the second category of products and services we offer is this technology solution portfolio. You can work with us to access any of these solutions and suppliers, and again, avoid the RFP process. We have sort of bucketed these solutions into 4 different subcategories here. Office productivity, for example, we have several contracts that support office productivity. What you're doing, the tools you're using every day, all day long. For example, you can use our Google and Microsoft contracts, which give you access to everything from a few email accounts for smaller agencies up to and including, your full cloud services. So if you need to document workflow or electronic signature capability, we can connect you with DocuSign. If you need to have an IT or other contacts, if you have an IT or some other type of contact center that needs a software upgrade, for example, or you want to look at how the workflow within your service desk, we have a contract, for example, with Five9 that can help you in that space. The second kind of subcategory here is cybersecurity. Obviously, we know that cybersecurity is front of mind for all agencies right now. So, for example, we have contracts with Astonish and Reuben Brown. These are companies that help you understand the strength of your current cybersecurity program. They can help you with an assessment, and they can also give you some information on how to improve your cybersecurity posture. The third subcategory, and we're moving down to the lower left bubble here on the slide, professional services. This is a really exciting space for us. We partner with a number of suppliers that provide the full spectrum of IT professional services, from very basic to very complex. For example, some of the things that these partners can help your agency with are assessments of your IT environment, helping you by providing managed services and application development, can help you create data analytics, can help you with your enterprise architecture, and help you modernize your data center, for example, if that's something you're working on. And we have some of these suppliers that can even help you with staffing needs. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about what working with some of our partners would look like. So a little more detail, our partnerships with firms like, say, Resultant, Slalom, and Evotech provide you access to any type of IT professional service your organization requires. So obviously, we don't have enough time on during just this webinar to detail every one of our suppliers here or every one of the potential solutions that they can provide for you. So please take a look at our website for more information, or better yet, just reach out directly to us and let's have a conversation. And it's important to note that while we oftentimes for many of these solutions that we give you access to, we have multiple suppliers who can provide those solutions. So you would be able to sort of have a bake-off, right? You could talk to a couple of our suppliers for a solution and pick the one that seems to have the best option for you. And then finally, community engagement is the fourth subcategory here. For those, agencies need to stream meetings. They need to connect digitally with their residents. They need to manage, certain campaigns where they want resident engagement and participation. One of our suppliers, Granicus, is an example that can support those needs for you. So, and additionally, how many of you are using or would like to use Salesforce to collect constituent or other information from your residents and be able to present that information in a meaningful way back to your residents? Again, working with Salesforce, we can help you in that space. So these are just a couple examples. I've just barely scratched the surface here. And I just want you to keep in mind that if you have some sort of an IT solution or professional service you need, we will likely have you covered with this portfolio of folks. And it's also important to note that we're constantly evaluating this portfolio to make sure it meets the technology needs of our customers, all the while, fitting within the SIPA mission. So, for example, a couple things front of mind. I mentioned cybersecurity. The other one is accessibility. Cybersecurity continues to be a significant challenge to governments, and cyber threats are becoming more complex and more pervasive. Particularly, this challenges local governments who may not be resourced to manage their cybersecurity as well as they would like to. So we've partnered again with Astonish to create a comprehensive secure endpoint program. This program provides everything from endpoint hardware to support to security training, and it's the pricing for this is a one low price per deployed device per month. So if you're looking to partner with an outside company to help you in your with your endpoint security, we would love to talk to you and show you this program. Accessibility, as you are aware, HB 211110 is requiring agencies to be compliant with accessibility requirements by the end of June of 2024. We know from talking with many of you that becoming compliant is going to be a big lift. We are continuing to look at how we can best support you as you make your move into becoming compliant with these requirements, but would love to speak with you very specifically about your roadmap. We have partners that can help you both with an accessibility assessment and help you figure out where your gaps are to become compliant in less than 18 months. So these partners are very familiar with the legislation, and they know exactly how to come in and do an assessment of your environment. One last thing that Kara mentioned earlier, I want to speak to in a bit more detail is why SIPA instead of, say, a purchasing cooperative. For the purchasing folks specifically on the call, or many of you who buy technology solutions for your agency, you know that some of the folks on this slide right here, you can buy through other channels, right? They're available through places outside of SIPA. So why would you use SIPA instead of, say, a purchasing cooperative that you've used over the years? Well, that's a fantastic question. Let me respond to that in a few ways. One, we work with Colorado governments only. Therefore, we are pushing our suppliers to really focus their offerings and solutions on the technology needs within this state. I think that's important. Again, our relationship and our ability to work with every government entity in the state, we have relationships with hundreds of governments. So suppliers really see the value of SIPA as their market channel partner simply because of our access and our knowledge of all the governments in the state. In turn, because we can help them with that access, they provide us with great pricing and other valuable benefits through our contracts with them. And then finally, remember around customer support. Again, we're local. We support you in every step of a purchase or a project. And then finally, remember, the money stays here in Colorado. So those are some things that differentiate us from working with a cooperative or some other channel. So, summary, we are doing really well on time here. We're going to open it up for questions if we have any. But just to summarize kind of what we talked about today. Again, we can't possibly cover every detail and every way in which we can support you and better connect you with your residents and customers on this webinar. So please, we just really will encourage you to reach out and contact us, and let's have a conversation about that. We'd love to have a conversation with you about your technology needs, what's on your roadmap, about your processes, and see where we can help you. We're a government serving governments, and our goal here is to really become your technology partner as you put more of your information and services online. So just real quick, the summary here. Remember, Kara did a great job talking about our statutory authority. We are government serving government. Don't forget all the really cool free things we do for you at no cost. I don't want to lose that in the mix today. Our extensive portfolio of suppliers and solutions that you have access to. You're a government entity, you can work with us. And then let us be an extension of your procurement function, right? The easy way, it's so simple to go through SIPA to get what you need. Please let us help you in that procurement function and let you focus on things, right, that are very more specific or niche to what you're trying to do for your agency. So with that, I guess, Carrie, if you have any closing thoughts, or Sharon, if we have any comments or questions, we can open it up for Q&A.
I have gone ahead and set it so anyone can unmute if they'd like to ask a question. And we do have one question in the Q&A, just asking if the slide deck will be sent post-call. And yes, if anyone would like it, please just email me and we can get that to you. And of course, we'll be getting this up on our YouTube channel later too. Greg, you have raised your hand if you want to go ahead and unmute, or you can type your question in the chat.
I think I did unmute.
There you
are. My name is Greg Helmsing. I'm with an irrigation district in Western Colorado. I don't know that this is the right forum, and I will say up front, I am a real novice in terms of tech stuff, so bear with me for just a moment. We have a website, ocidcolorado.gov. Our mission as an irrigation district is to distribute irrigation water to members of our district with the water that is available in a stored reservoir. That distribution system is based upon acreage that a person has. Our problem is this: we have many people who do not use their water. We want to make available kind of a classified ad Craigslist system, if you will, by which people who desire to rent out their water for a year can do that, and somebody else desiring to rent it can find that and they can connect without any further involvement of us. We've identified a system put out by WordPress that essentially does that over a website. However, and here's why I'm really into water, I don't know. I understand that it does not operate on a Drupal related system, which we have. And what we're trying to find out is if there's any way through this forum that we can be put in contact with somebody that can maybe help us explore getting this option available on our own website. Now, to be fair, I did contact a Sonny with the irrigation district, with I think the state government. She mentioned something about Access Gov project, but I've not heard anything in a couple of days. Our irrigation season is getting ready to start here the first part of April, and with water usage being vital, we thought this might be a good way to use our website, and I'd be happy to get hold of a private vendor or whoever we need to see if we can make this work. Thank you for bearing with me.
Beth, would you like to take that question?
The one I was typing on?
Oh, no, I meant Greg's. I believe we can do that through Access Gov, what you're wanting, Greg. So we might need to have a further conversation with you if you want to get in touch with Beth afterwards at beth@cosipa.gov.
So Beth at cosipa.gov.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, Greg, I'd be happy to help you out with that. So I appreciate that question. And I also saw some online. I was typing in some of the examples of, the portal, colorado.gov products and services we have. And I was typing that in. cms.colorado.gov has a list of all of the websites that are on the Drupal platform on colorado.gov that you can go to. And, individually, we have to share some of the online forms and the payment processing links that we have available. So I'm happy to go over those with you as well if you want to email me at beth@costipa.gov. And if I have your email somewhere, oh, is that you, Clint, who asked? Yeah, Clint, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying good morning.
Morning.
And thanks SIPA very much for the funds that they have helped us procure with their micro grants. A couple of questions, but they look like they've already been answered in the chat, which is okay. The one question that I have is, does SIPA have a recommendation or a company they work with? We're looking at installing a server and getting it set up in our town hall.
So, yeah, this is Beth. We do not do hardware. So that's really out of scope for SIPA. I think most of the stuff we do is really public facing, how you try to interact with your constituents.
So once we get it in and get it set up and installed, then you guys could help us with the cybersecurity side?
Absolutely.
Okay,
More ways than you'll want, I'm sure.
thank you very much. That answers my question.
Yeah, I appreciate the kudos. We do try to help as much as possible.
So let me just jump in here. There was a great question here about how do we start the process of getting in compliance? I think, again, Jacob, we are really kind of at the front end of working on how we can best support agencies, right, with accessibility compliance. We've got a few things we've started on, but I think the best step here would be for you to contact us and let's have an initial conversation, figure out where you're at, and then we can talk about where we can support you with resources or connecting you with partners that can help you with assessments or things like that. Everybody, I think a lot of agencies are at a very different place in both their cybersecurity and their accessibility space right now. So I think the best thing, just reach out to us and let's set up a conversation. We'll have a chat with you.
Do we have a contact slide that we can throw up there?
Yes, can you get to the next one, Duane?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you.
Here you go. So let's see. Yep, we're all on there, except Sharon's not on there. Sharon does a lot of our website questions and paperwork and just all overall questions. Duane and I do a lot of the professional services or services that are contracted and cost money. And Kara is, again, does a lot of our legal questions or things around our statute as well. So please reach out to any one of us with what you are looking to accomplish, and let's see if we can help you find a solution.
Absolutely. Well, that looks like we've gotten to the end. Again, please contact us, any of us at SIPA. We are happy to talk to you, have a conversation, have a Zoom, get together for lunch, whatever, and answer your questions and probably, hopefully help provide some services for you to make your lives a little easier. If you want to return to this webinar, we will be getting this up on YouTube, as we mentioned, so it'll be up on our website. We'll have it in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, we recommend subscribing to that because we get a lot of good information in there for you. And it's just once a month that you get emailed. And we've got a survey for you at the end of this. So please fill out those questions. We really want to make these webinars more functional and better for you. And so let us know what you'd like to see in a future one and how we did with this one, if we can help you out with anything else. Thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you, Duane and Kara, for joining us for the discussion and these wonderful slides, and Beth for answering the questions. We'll be back next month, and stay tuned for that topic as we get things kind of organized, and have a wonderful day, everyone.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Stay warm, stay dry.